Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news of Star Citizen from the week just past. I am your host Mac, so let's get on with it. This week we get a rundown on the latest of 3.0. Gamescom details are released, plus we see how the new MobiGlas is coming along. So in the latest ATV we had this new Burndown, which is a behind the scenes look, or behind the scenes access to what they're doing to get 3.0 ready. Starting with the QA team, they say they're testing the new features and finding these bugs. They have implemented rotating planets, which is good news, because of this, it causes players to go through the geometry as they load into the game. Some of the serious issues are memory related, client crashes, spawning multiple ships which cause errors, and the insurance and repair system would take your money, but it wouldn't repair your ship. So that's one of the reasons they need to get these things fixed. They've tested a build which has no UI, but it still was really amazing because they said as a group they were trying to find a landing point on Yella, and having no UI they had to resort to firing flares and weapons to find each other, which does sound like a lot of fun. Got a lot of work going on the Ursa rover. So far the wheels seem to be the biggest problem. The falling mechanic as well is getting stuck. Lots of lols there, we can see them constantly falling. These issues arise when they implement new features, and even when they resolve one bug, doing so can create another. But overall, including the must-fix issues we saw recently, there is around 3,676 issues. Now, they want to crunch down on these, but these, as I said, include the 83 issues which are stopping it from being released. It doesn't mean that these 3,600 odd issues are stopping the release, it's just the 83. Once those 83 issues are done, then they will get the Eva Cotti release. So they keep pushing hard, and we'll see what the progress is next week. I did do a separate video on this. I'll put up the little information as to the bugs and the criticals and the stoppers and whatnot, but I have done a separate video. The link is in the description. Anyway, the main feature of ATV this week was looking at the MobiGlas's overhaul. So the MobiGlas is what you will consider a mobile phone. It's what everyone has. They've been overhauling it to design something more akin to a desktop OS. The render-to-texture tech has been a great part of this and is now being implemented, which enables them to render a 3D scene on a 2D surface or as a 3D holovolume. So expect to see in low-tech areas the UI will show up on 2D screens, and in the more high-tech areas you'll get these 3D holovolumes that we saw on the last week's ATV. Now the MobiGlas is made by Microtech, which will be a holographic display because Microtech are a very high-end tech kind of place. It serves as the primary access point to all the game mechanics and transactions, plus player communications, pretty much everything, like a smartphone does for us now. We will have access to many dedicated apps which serve a specific purpose, so managing your missions contracts, customizing your ships or your character, maybe viewing maps in the game as well. It's designed to link the player character to the environment, so if you want to know whether it's safe or not to remove your helmet, the MobiGlas will tell you the external atmosphere and what it's like out and whether it's safe to do so. But also things like your health, mission status, money, pretty much everything. They wanted to upgrade the model, they wanted it to be smaller so it can fit with all the other assets like clothing. And they have updated it with two different versions. You have the military version and the civilian version. And due to the changes of the clothing and armor, this is why it needs to be much smaller, much thinner, more like a watch. Now the civilian MobiGlas will be worn on clothes, and the military MobiGlas will be worn over undersuits, and it looks more rugged and robust for combat use. Now when it comes to customizing your own MobiGlas, you will be able to buy MobiGlas in a variety of styles and prices, so you will be able to tell if someone has an expensive version or not, which I think is very cool. And I think the $42 million stretch goal was for the Explorer class MobiGlas, so if you backed before the $42 million, you will get a visually distinctive MobiGlas preloaded with additional galactic information which new players will not have access right off the bat to, so they'll have to go and find out these informations. You'll be able to personalize your home screen, so deciding what widgets go where, and it kind of want to make it more relevant to what you want to plan to do in the verse. So if you want to be a trader, you may have your sort of cargo manifest on your home screen rather than your combat stats or, you know, that sort of thing. It's specific to what you want to use it for. Now, the UI for the MobiGlas not only needs to be visible for us as the player, but for your character too. So, because this is a VR-capable game, it requires it so that it's readable at the character's sort of eye level, because that's where you will be looking from. The MobiGlas and all pretty much UI in Star Citizen will be diegetic, meaning that it looks like it belongs in the world, rather than just pasted over the top. And also things like if the screen was to go fuzzy, if things like you'd get a signal disruptor or an EMP, or we saw a little snippet of this. Very cool. They want, you know, like they said, they want to have cracks and problems with things like that. Now, the audio team has been recording some inner working devices like the hard drives and mobile phones. We've been getting some sound from them to kind of give it subtle audio cues for when your MobiGlas is starting up, closing, switching apps, and so forth. Personally, I didn't feel like it went too well, as it sounded a bit alien-esque and didn't really have the high-quality sound to it. So this is still a work in progress, so it will change. But the Star Map app, like Google Maps of the universe, basically. So eventually you will be able to zoom all the way out to see the galaxy as a whole, but also zoom all the way in and use it as a radar on your ship, for example. So you can see blips of vehicles on the surface and so forth, very close up. Since we saw it at Gamescom, they've done a lot of work on the maps, the visual effects, sprint and gameplay and audio. It's much more visually impressive now and very user-friendly, which is obviously very important. The Mission Manager is now changed its app name to Contracts Manager app, and this contains all the missions in the PU and eventually player-created missions too. So as a player, you'll be able to create a contract for other players looking to accept. And your tabs in this Contracts Manager app will be available, accepted, pending, and then history for all the missions. The Inventory Manager as well, this is all the items players will have across the verse, from, they said, antique coins to capital ships. You can filter, you can sort, and you can search through them, which is very important because I'm sure we'll all have a lot of items on our person, or in our ownership. But it'll also give you the ability to transfer your own items from location to location, provided that those locations are in relative proximity, so you can't just send something right across the verse. Anyway, that was the MobiGlas. It is looking very cool. I do like the new look of it. It looks like it's going to be quite easy to get used to. I do hope so anyway. Let me know what your thoughts are on the MobiGlas. Let's move on. So this week's Star Citizen Happy Hour brought us two Star Citizen lore writers, Will Weisbaum and Dave Haddock, in creating a pitch for one of the in-game locations. Now, it's an incredible video showing us how the lore of Star Citizen comes together. I highly suggest watching it if you haven't already. It's just wonderful to see how these things are put together. Plus, we have our own little influence in it as well, allowing us to vote and so forth. So also this week, Citizens of the Stars featured developer Mike Jones and community member Olaf Jaeger. We had a new post titled Collision Course Part 1, which is an in-fiction story of someone living in 3.0 basically. Lawmakers brought us the Tiber system. The Subscriber Flare is a new series called Masters of Design, featuring blueprints of both the Hurricane and the Terrapin. And finally, for those going to Gamescom, CIG has released details on the event, including their shop floor presence. Don't forget, courtesy of my patrons, every month we give away a Star Citizen starter package. All you have to do is be a subscriber on this channel and comment below on any video I put out in August to stand a chance. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for watching, and thank you to our subscribers, plus a massive thank you to our patrons as you make this possible. If you like what we do and want to help us make it better, follow the link in the description to our Patreon page to learn more.